Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new, my name is Solomon Thomas. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I just graduated with my master's in general psychology, and I have the goal of becoming a clinical psychologist one day. So I'm making these YouTube videos to practice articulating my thoughts and beliefs, and I also hope that some of these ideas and paradigms that I elucidate can be useful to anyone out there who's listening. So in this video, I wanted to offer a paradigm for how to be successful in life, as well as more specifically various domains in your life, such as your career, your academic goals, your fitness goals, maybe even your relationship goals. And the paradigm boils down to getting your story straight. So, what do I mean by that? A story is a pattern of organization, it's a way of prioritizing information that you're dealing with. And the pattern is as follows: you're at point A, you're trying to get to point B, which is your goal, and you utilize various strategies to get from point A to point B. So, three components: your goal, the strategy that you use to accomplish your goal, and your starting point. For me, in my life, learning about this paradigm has been useful to just organize my thoughts as well as my behaviors and perceptions as I'm trying to accomplish my various goals. When it comes to getting your story straight, you have to set an aim or set a goal. You need to clarify it, differentiate it, meditate on it, and really ask yourself if this is the thing that you want to do. After you set that goal, you then use that to assess your current situation. Let's say I want to set the goal of running a marathon in under 3 hours. Well, now I need to see how well I am at running. And there are some components of my current state that are factual, such as my current ability to run, my current mobility, my current habits. But part of the evaluation of your current state only manifests in relation to your goal. So let's say I can run a marathon in 3 hours and 30 minutes. Well, that's a fact. But the question becomes, is that good or is that bad? Now, that's relatively bad in relation to the goal of running a marathon in 3 hours. But if I were to set the goal of running a marathon in 3 hours and 25 minutes, well, then I'm actually not that far away, and that's not that bad. So the goal and your current state are tightly related, which is why it's important to clarify what your goal is. And then when it comes to selecting various strategies and tactics that you're going to use to transform your current state into your desired state, this, I would say, under setting your goal, this would be the next most important step. Having a strategy and having a plan is what helps you bridge the gap between the abstract goal that you set, such as getting that promotion or running a marathon or graduating from college. The goals, in some sense, can be far away. They can seem in potential and not necessarily in reality, for lack of a better way of saying it. But when you have a strategy that breaks down the necessary sub goals that are required to move from point A to point B, you then have a bridge. You have some sort of connection that keeps you grounded. So, for example, I have the goal of running a marathon in under 2 hours and 50 minutes to be specific. I just ran a marathon a few days ago, actually, and I got 2:59:46, something like that. So now I have to think to myself, I have my point A, my point B, my point A. What are the strategies that I need to put in place? Well, first of all, I need to schedule a new marathon. And so let's say I'm going to run a race in October. That's a few months out. Okay, what do I need to do every single month to make sure that I hit that goal? Well, I probably need to do some sort of marathon or approximate workout that is close to a marathon that will help me gauge whether or not I'm making progress towards that goal of running a marathon in under 2 hours and 50 minutes. So that's something I need to do every single month. Well, what do I need to do every single week? Well, I probably should run a certain amount of miles per week, and I probably need to get some sort of speed workout in there, and I probably need to make sure my nutrition is on track for each week. So now I have monthly goals, I have weekly goals, and we can keep going down to daily goals. What do I need to do every single day? I probably need to stretch for 30 minutes. I probably need to get a certain amount of protein, get a certain amount of electrolytes in. I need to run 10 to 12 miles to make sure I get that weekly mileage, to make sure that I'm ready for those monthly workouts to keep myself on track. And instead of focusing on the goal that is very far out, this is something that James Clear talks about in his book Atomic Habits, which is something that I would recommend to anyone who is interested, not necessarily in goal setting, because the book doesn't talk about that too much, but for someone who's more interested in developing strategies and tactics and implementing good habits to accomplish your goals, I highly recommend Atomic Habits. Once you set the goal, you don't necessarily have to focus on it every single minute of every single day. If you have intelligently and deliberately laid out a plan, you can then feel more comfortable by just focusing on those habits and what you have to get done today and what you have to get done tomorrow, because to the degree that you've created a successful strategy, you know that you will make that progress. Now, you don't have to be too rigid when it comes to strategizing. A big part of getting your story straight is also being open to modification and utilizing the feedback that you will get from experience as you're going through implementing this plan, so that way you can make it better. And that might mean you need to adjust your goal. That might mean you need to adjust the strategy itself. That might mean you need to reassess your current state. But a big part of accomplishing the goal and getting the success is first setting the goal, then setting the strategy, and also assessing your current state so that way you have an idea of where you are and where you're trying to go. Another reason I love this paradigm when it comes to organizing and thinking about your life is that it gives you the framework within which you can then ask questions to better improve your situation and better understand what's going on. So instead of blindly working to accomplish a fitness goal or say get that promotion at work, once you have this paradigm, you can then ask yourself, okay, things aren't going well, and you have indicators of that. Let's say you're filled with negative emotion, you're anxious a lot, you're frustrated, or maybe people are telling you, hey, you're not really living up to your potential, or maybe you feel that yourself. Well, you can use this paradigm of a story to then at least start asking some questions. Do I have a goal? Is this goal that I've set adequately motivating? Is the goal accurate? Is it in the correct domain of my life that I actually care about? Maybe your goal is correct. Maybe everything's fine there. Well, then you can ask yourself, are you assessing your current state correctly? Does it make sense that your perceptions of your current reality and your emotional response to those perceptions, do they match your goal? And then you can also ask questions about the strategy. Is this the most intelligent way of going about accomplishing my goal? What aspects of my current plan and my habits do I need to modify or change so that way I can keep making progress? And in my opinion, a big part of succeeding in life is knowing the right questions to ask. So when it comes to striving for success in life and wrestling with the failures and the obstacles and the errors, one of the ways that you can adapt and learn and continue to move forward is by asking yourself if you have your story straight. And like I just mentioned, that can be differentiated into many different questions. Is your aim correct? Is your current analysis of your situation adequate in relation to your aim? And then finally, you can ask yourself, are the strategies and tactics that you're using to accomplish your goal intelligent and implementable in a way that's helpful. So thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.